So this is just taking a moment to give a shout out to the idea that we are all aliens. Oh yeah, that we are all aliens. Stay to the end to find out how. We're sort of gonna get to the end. Welcome to the news. Yeah, so in essence, just saying that we're all aliens, so it's just kind of worthwhile to be able to acknowledge the speed of life, the speed of the way there is a pace to life. There is a BPMs, meaning the beats per minutes to life, and that is pretty fast. Actually, it tends to be pretty quick. I don't know the exact BPM, beats per minute, but the beats per minute for this song is like, well, let's just say that trance music is like, I don't know, 160 beats per minute or something along those lines. I could be actually wrong about that. Nonetheless, it's very fast if you're talking about certain paces and beats per minute. For example, if you're talking about music, now we're talking about business music, because in this podcast, that's what we tend to focus on. So in terms of the business music of life, it is not necessarily something that people have the ability to be able to step back and hear the right frequency for. So we want to be able to take a moment to take a step back from life, to be able to hear your own frequency, to be able to hear the frequency of your own antennas from your alien antennas. We are all aliens. We are all very much aliens, and there's a speed to life. And that speed corresponds to a frequency, and that frequency is not transmitting the ideal ability to be able to connect with who and what you are in terms of what you intrinsically are, in terms of your alien self, in terms of the essence of stepping away and stepping into your own paradigm, because in essence, all of us aliens, we all have our own unique elements to be able to step ourselves into our own outer spaces, to be able to tune into our motherland spaceships, which only exist in another paradigm of existence, of another parallel universe, because in essence, that's what we are all substantially symbolic of in terms of being aliens, is different parallel universes from all of us, from the antennas between all of us. That is what our unique frequencies are all about. That is what our unique fingerprints are all about. On every single human is unique fingerprints. So in essence, we're trying to make sense of the idea of that we all are unique individuals, and we're trying to do that by acknowledging that we're all aliens, because this speed of life, the actual speed of life, everything that's around us, all the frequencies that keep us together and keep us in tendencies and keep us following one trend or another, and one focus or another, and one tendency or another, has to do with a beats per minute speed of life, where every single day we get caught up in the speed of life, and then we don't have the time to think about our alien selves. And so that's the purpose of this podcast, is to be able to slow things down, slow down the beats per minute, slow it down real smooth. So you've just got the idea to tap into your alien frequency, to tap into your alien antennas, so that in essence what's between your antennas is nothing except you and yourself in the middle of space, the dynamic nature of space and time, and a place where it's just you and your ability to be able to acknowledge the raw essence of yourself, the rawness of who you are, because in essence you're floating in terms of your alien nature. We are all aliens on this planet that are floating together. It's very obvious when we're floating in the middle of unlimited space and time and energy, and we all happen to sort of correspond from different backgrounds, different places, different cellular biology that corresponds to an absolutely unique paradigm within all of us, 100 million%, and we happen to be able to get a feeling, because we're all living on this finite planet of land, that we in essence need to be all the same and coalesce with each other, and we need to vibe and we need to flow in terms of a society that is coalescent and in essence is sort of reciprocal of an energy that is sort of one giant motion, whereas we don't need to be that. We can separate, and the essence of this podcast is to separate and to be able to acknowledge our alienness, to be able to separate into that paradigm of your uniqueness, to be able to just get a sense of like a meditation, to be able to step away and just be okay with separating for a little while, and being able to be separate and be functionally very uniquely idealizing the idea of being alone with yourself, because in essence it is a very, 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 very peculiar thing to be among aliens, among 8 billion other aliens on a finite planet known as Earth. And so it's worth noticing that everybody's got to take down and find their own frequency, and take down the notches, a couple notches from just being able to settle inside of yourself, to settle in the essence of finding your alien frequency, for the purpose of this podcast, for the purpose of acknowledging your alien paradigm, your alien paradigm, which in essence, it really is not necessarily about trends, it's not about taste, it's not about fashion, it's about really tuning into the frequency of yourself corresponding to the universe, if you will, because in essence, not even the universe, the galaxies, the stars, every single piece of energy in the world, because in essence, it's such a unique experience, everything that's sort of happening ultimately on a day-to-day basis, but everything from like magazines magazines to just like websites to just things that are popping up on a little device known as a phone tend to rip you away from the idea and the ideation that you are a godlike creature, a godlike embodiment at every single moment, every single turn of every single day. And that is what this podcast is about, is to be able to create that reminder. It's to create that frequency where you find your own beats per minute. You find your own business music resonation of your heart. And that's what this podcast also is resonating about too, is trying to find your business music business, basically, where you're trying to find something that corresponds to passion that also people can pay you for one way or another. But even if they don't pay you for it, you can still make that business. You can still make a passion that in essence you can market, you can brand. It's also something you can just make an Instagram around, which in essence is correspondent to a personal brand. But nonetheless, aside from money, that's not what business music is all about. Business music is all about speaking to the soul, and whatever that core soul energy is, after all, that doesn't necessarily have to resonate into the public eye. It just has to resonate, period. It just has to be something that resonates from the core depths of your personification of your energy at the highest resonating level of the highest frequency of the highest connectivity to your internal epicenter, to be able to get a higher resonance inside of yourself, inside of your own gratification, sort of sensors inside of yourself to embody the nature of who and what we are as aliens. As aliens, between our little antennas, our little alien antennas on top of our heads that we've got that are invisible, because in essence that's where our frequency tuning happens to be aligning us with the middle of nowhere in the universe. When we close our eyes, this is also sort of like a meditation, if you will, because in essence, once you realize, once you embody, once you embrace the alien, you don't have to keep trying as much necessarily. You have to understand that we're all aliens. We're all fighting for air every single day on this alien planet, and we are all aliens on this alien planet spaceship known as planet Earth. And at the same time, when we idealize how to become ideally aligned with that mindset and methodology, it's sort of what this podcast is about, is to try to be able to just be comfortable with knowing that it's okay to have your own frequency, and you can tune into that frequency just in this podcast. It's giving you the permission to tune into that frequency. You can tune out of the beats per minute, the BPM, dun 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 dun. Trance music, I think, is 170 beats per minute, or whatever it is. You're going to have to look that up. I have no idea what it is right now. But nonetheless, we have our own alien frequency beats per minute to life, where we tune in to our own beats per minute. And once we get that right, once you slow down, once you get off of the roller coaster of life and tune into your own speed of frequency, whatever that is, whatever that frequency of beats per minute is, once you get in line with that with yourself, then you can separate from all the other aliens and you can become your own alien self, which is perfectly the intention of this podcast, is to remind yourself that you are an alien, that we are all aliens, and to be able to use those antennas on top of your dome, on top of your brain, on top of your head, to then be able to resonate and get into the most comfortable resonance possible, to be able to have the highest frequency and resonate at the most smooth, sleek, and slender frequency that gives you and aligns with you as a soul, and the embodiment of an understanding of yourself as an energy among the trees, among the plants, among smelling the pollen and the flowers, and aligning with all of the floating, pollinating plants that are sending energy from one flower to another into the air, and just aligning with the floating, flowing essence of energies in the wind that are corresponding and connecting and trying to give birth from one plant to another, sending pollen from one plant to another plant all the way across the city by using the wind and the air and the essence of the rotating nature, natural embodying sweeping, flowing, fluid, functional energies that keep us grounded, that keep us moving, that keep us floating from one time in space to another, known as time, known as the days passing, known as keeping ourselves grounded and keeping ourselves flowing internally, in terms of the internal mindset that keeps us most spiritually aligned with our alienness, our alien selves, our alien mechanics and mechanisms, to be able to be more functionally in tune with our alien selves. It's very ideal and important to acknowledge that we are aliens to begin with, so that way you can find your comfortability as aliens in an alien world, in an alien spaceship known as Mother Planet Earth, and at the same time to be able to correspond and resonate with that, because all of our paradigms are different between all of our antennas of all 8 billion people on the planet, and all animals, all of the animals that have ears, and all of in between all of their ears, they all are resonating in different strange alien ways as well. So we have kind of a chaotic, cataclysmic process where we're all trying to make these things work and function and flow and vibe one day to the next, with one person to the next, from one instance and encounter to the next, from flowing in and out of situations and encounters and experiences and people gatherings and groups and things of this nature, which seem very orchestrated and normalized, and things of this apparent presentation. Whereas, however, nonetheless, this podcast is meant to give you the permission, maybe the concept and the interest to be able to find your beats per minute, whatever your beats per minute are, to tune into that frequency and get calm and get collected, based upon knowing that you are an alien and that we are all aliens, and that it's normal to be that, and you want to actually acknowledge and try to embody that, and try to also glorify that, so that you are ultimately most comfortable in that space of trying to resonate with your alien mindset and the alignment with that frequency, and tune in, so that in essence you get comfortable with the idea of knowing how peculiarly strange and unknown and out of the ordinary that everything in this world actually is, so that you can just align with the unknown and the unforeseeable, unspeakable items that you can't necessarily put words to, and just sort of connect with them by reading in between the lines of them and kind of grooving yourself into in between the lines of whatever those things happen to be, so that this podcast is sort of the permission slip to slide and slip yourself inside of things that are sort of a little bit hard to describe, and get a better way of putting words to figure them out with, and using this podcast to tune into your antennas to find your beats per minute, so that you can just sort of be one with your energy. Be one with your energy. Be one with your energy, so that in essence everything and body can resonate, hopefully with a comfortability energy that sort of surrounds you, in essence, just from knowing and flowing that you've got everything in a perfect sense, in a perfect order, in a perfect sensation of yourself, because that is the perfect sensation of yourself, is yourself. You are the perfect order, the perfect alignment of yourself, and that is how you were tuned in this frequency. You were made from this frequency. You are of this frequency. You are of the alignment with your own personification frequency. And that's what makes you an alien, and that's what makes you something that has a specific, unique power from this specific frequency that is very refined and very unique in the infinity of all numbers, to have your own infinity number to resonate with and correspond to, that nobody else can resonate at that frequency paradigm exactly, because that's what makes you an alien, and all of us aliens. And so that is how we are collaborating and being harmonious and harmonizing among all of us with all of our business music together. So let's leave it at that for now. And also remember to try to use this methodology and this mindset to be able to move towards and move closer to developing a global philanthropy energy grid. A global philanthropy energy grid, so that we can do better by and for all other human beings in the world, by developing the global philanthropy energy grid and working on it and elaborating on it and expanding upon it. And also the global good deeds economy. The global good deeds economy. Yeah, the global good deeds economy. Yeah, global philanthropy and a generation. And the global good deeds economy. That's all for now. Thanks again, Diggy Tech and Change for Game Studios. Bye, peace, bye. And let's all remember to push for world peace every single day. Let's all remember to push for world peace every single day. Let's push for world peace every single day. And also, let's remember to try to clear the animal shelters. Let's clear all the animal shelters in the world. Let's clear all the animal shelters in the world, because we can foster all the shelter animals. We can adopt all the shelter animals in the world. We can rescue all the shelter animals in the world, and we can also hire the shelter animals as healers. We can also hire the shelter animals as healers all throughout the world, so that they don't have to be mistreated in animal shelters, and we can clear the animal shelters, and we can hire the shelter animals as healers throughout our communities. Hire the shelter animals as healers throughout our communities, because they also work for free, and they could use better purpose and use better jobs and be able to add value and be therapeutic energy for humans and humanity, to help us be more harmonious as humans and among humanity for all the animals in the world, to clear all the animal shelters, to try to get them to transition their energy in terms of therapeutic energy to all humans, so we can clear the animal shelters to add value to humanity in terms of harmony if possible. And let's push for world peace every single day and clear the animal shelters every day. That's all for now. Thanks again, Dinky Tech and Change for Game Studios. Bye. Peace. Bye.